welcome back to our channel Millicent Moms. Actually, we took a bit gap in between, so we'll be trying to update our videos on a regular basis. Because of some conditions, we were not able to update the videos on regular basis. Today we'll be dealing with the 15th chapter, which is pregnancy, childbirth and preparing. The category code belongs to O00 to O9A. Okay, in this chapter actually it is divided mainly into two: the general OB guidelines and specific OB guidelines. Okay, in general coding guidelines, what happens, there are almost 6 things which you need to remember, and the main thing what I want to tell is, it is very important to remember this. And in this chapter there is a clubbing of all the previous chapters which we have taken. Likewise, for example, HIV, pregnant patient with HIV, that codes also will come in this chapter. For all the chapters, it will be falling in this particular chapter. So when you are learning this chapter, try to understand each and every guideline in a proper manner, so that it will be very much helpful for you guys. And this chapter is very easy. It is a bit long chapter, but it is very easy and very interesting to learn. Okay, so we'll go to the general guidelines. The first guideline is like code from chapter 15 and sequencing priority. In this main thing is, O codes and Z codes you will not give it together. In this case, you should not ask me like, oh, then with the weeks of gestation are Z codes, right? Yes, that will go together, but other than that, nothing will go together. O codes for supervision of normal pregnancy will be like O codes. Along with that, and other supervision with Z code we can't give together. So O codes, along with that, only the weeks of gestation Z codes will go together. Other than that, nothing will go together. And the sequencing priority, for this I'll give you one example. Actually, the example written over here is a urinary bladder abscess. Okay, infection in the bladder abscess. The question is like bladder abscess in pregnant patient at 25 weeks of gestation. Okay, 25 weeks of gestation, the patient is 25 weeks and the patient is having a bladder abscess. In this case, how you will code it? The primary code will be your O codes. It is infection of bladder in pregnancy, second trimester. Now, how you will define the trimesters? For that, you need to follow this rule. Less than 14 weeks will be considered as first trimester, 14 to 28 weeks will be considered as second trimester, and third trimester will be considered as from 28 weeks till the delivery time. Okay, so less than 14 weeks means it will be like 13 weeks and 7 days. 8 days will be considered as a 14th week. Okay, so likewise it will be applicable for all the 3 trimester. So you should know how to choose the trimester based on the documentation given. So in this scenario, infection of the bladder in pregnancy, second trimester, and the next code will be like, as I have told, the patient is having a bladder abscess, right? So the cystitis without hematuria will be your secondary diagnosis, and your third diagnosis will be the weeks of gestation. As I have mentioned here, the patient is 25 weeks pregnant. So Z3A.25 will be your weeks of gestation. Okay. For the simple scenario, I'll tell you one thing. The pregnant patient is having anemia. Okay, so the patient's encounter will be for pregnancy complicated with anemia. Along with that, your secondary diagnosis will be what type of anemia the patient is having. If it is a normal anemia, whether it is an iron deficiency anemia, vitamin B12 deficiency, we don't know which category the patient is having. So that specificity will be a secondary diagnosis. Along with that, the third diagnosis will be the weeks of gestation based on the patient's LMP. Okay, that is the first guideline. So the second guideline is like chapter 15 codes used only on the maternal record. It's very important. This O codes will be using only on the maternal record. Maternal record in the sense on the mother's record. Okay, why I am specifying this is, soon after the delivery, the mother's charts and baby's chart will be together. So in that case, you're not supposed to write a maternal code on the baby neonatal record. Okay, the O codes will be only applicable on the maternal record. It will not be applicable on the neonatal's record. Keep it in your mind. It's very important. This will help you to easily eliminate the options. Okay, for example, if you are getting an option with O code and P code together, in that case you can easily eliminate that, because in that you will be coding only O codes and Z codes. You will not code P codes. P codes means it is neonatal codes. It is the next chapter. Vidya will be coming with that chapter. Okay. So it's for your understanding. Maternal, these O codes will be coded only on the maternal records and not on the neonatal records. Okay. And the third guideline is final character of the trimester. In the final character, how you will choose the trimester, I have already explained you. This should be the criteria for choosing your trimester. In this third guideline, final character of trimester, there are specific conditions which occurs before 20 weeks, after 20 weeks and up. Here the scenario what they have given is late vomiting in pregnancy. Late vomiting in pregnancy means it is considered as after 20 weeks. Okay. There are many signs and symptoms which occurs after 20 weeks and there are many symptoms which occurs early in the pregnancy also. So what occurs in late pregnancy, we can't say, okay, I was feeling that in my early pregnancy. That we can't say that because that will not happen. The early symptoms will be happening in the early weeks and the late symptoms will be happening in the late weeks only. So here what happens, you should categorize based on the symptom in which trimester will it fall. For example, if it is a quickening, okay, it will happen in 20 weeks or 21 weeks. That time only we can, a pregnant woman can say that, okay, I have experienced quickening. Okay, other than that, in 10th week, she can't say, oh, I was experiencing quickening. She can't say that because it will not happen. Okay, so you should understand this one. Vomiting also, it is categorized into two, early vomiting and late vomiting. If it is in early vomiting, we have a specific condition called as hyperemesis gravidarum. Hyperemesis gravidarum is nothing but excessive vomiting in pregnancy. That we will be categorizing based on the weeks of gestation. If it is below 20 weeks, we will consider it as early vomiting in pregnancy, and if it is after 20 weeks, we will consider it as late vomiting in pregnancy. Okay. So the fourth guideline is selection of trimester in IP admission that encompasses more than one trimester. The same guideline we have seen in the glaucoma chapter also. That means the patient got admitted with the mild stage glaucoma and during the surgery time it evolved to moderate or severe. In that case, what is the evolved stage that we will be coding, right? But in this, in pregnancy chapter, the thing is it will be like trimester. I'll give you an example. If the patient is getting admitted with vomiting in the 27th weeks of gestation. Okay, the patient was getting treated for that, and after 2 days or 3 days, patient started with the 28 weeks of gestation, and that time they are identifying some complications like bleeding or some uterine fibroid or something like that. In this particular scenario, how you will code it? For this thing, initially you should code vomiting in pregnancy at 27 weeks of gestation. That means the second trimester. That will be your primary code, and your secondary code will be if it is a uterine fibroid, pregnancy complicated with uterine fibroid in the third trimester will be a secondary code, and your last thing will be the current weeks of gestation. That means if it is a 28th week, 28 weeks of gestation will be your third code. Okay, so this will be the sequencing pattern. So, because if the patient is coming with vomiting, she comes in second trimester, right? So, we can't give the current weeks of gestation. Understood? And the fifth guideline is unspecified trimester. What is unspecified trimester? Unspecified trimester means doctor has not documented which trimester the patient is. This happens because sometimes the patient itself don't know, okay, what was my LMP, when was my date, all those things the patient may not know. If we are going for a regular checkup, what happens? Doctor will do the ultrasound, doctor will do the physical examination. They will be knowing easily, they can identify which trimester the patient is or how many weeks of gestation the patient is. But if the patient is going for a common cold for a doctor, they can't identify easily that which trimester the patient is. In that cases, they may specify like unspecified trimester. In this scenario, as a coder, what you need to do is you should initially query your physician regarding the weeks of gestation, and you should ask them why it is mentioned as unspecified trimester. If there is a genuine reason, we can then code it as an unspecified trimester. Okay. Otherwise, we need to get it back from the doctor and we need to specify the trimester. Okay, that is nothing but unspecified trimester. Last one is the 7th character for fetus identification. When do we do fetus identification? When there is more than one fetus in the womb. Fetus is nothing but the outcome of delivery. Outcome of delivery is baby, that is nothing but the fetus. Okay. So, baby 1, baby 2 in case of twins. Okay, if there's triplets 1, 2, 3 will be there, quadruplets means 4 will be there. If there's more than one baby, then only we need a specific identification tag. Okay, in that case, the last one, if you take this code O32.1XX8, sometimes what happens during the examination, the baby 1 will be normal and the second baby will be having some other complication like cord around the neck, breech presentation, something else like that. Vice versa can also happen. Baby 1 will be abnormal and baby 2 will be normal. In that case, we need to indicate which baby is having the symptom or which baby is having some or the other disease condition. For that, we will indicate this fetus identification number. If you go to the description of this code, it is like O32.1XXA, which is like maternal care for breech presentation fetus 2. That means fetus 2 is with breech presentation. Breech presentation is nothing but abnormal presentation of the baby. That means usually at the time of delivery, the vertex presentation should be there. But other than vertex presentation, whatever is there, we will call it as a breech presentation. Okay. So to identify that, we give as fetus 2. Understood? If it is baby 1, then we'll change it to 1. Then it will be fetus 1. Understood? This is nothing but the fetus identification. These are the main general coding guidelines for the OB. Okay. Okay, so till now we were dealing with the general OB guidelines. Now we will be dealing with the specific OB guidelines. In this, the first one will be like selection of OB principal or first listed diagnosis. How to select the principal diagnosis or the first listed diagnosis. In that, the first one is routine outpatient prenatal visit. Okay, routine outpatient prenatal visit means once after pregnancy there will be the regular visit to the clinics or the hospitals. Okay, so in that case, what will be a primary diagnosis? It will be like the category code Z34 will be a primary diagnosis, and for that one, okay, for the encounter for supervision of normal pregnancy. The description for this Z34 is encounter for supervision of the normal pregnancy. That will be a primary diagnosis. Along with that, how many weeks we are pregnant, that one we are supposed to code like Z3A point. If 11 weeks, 11, 12 weeks means 12. Z3A point 11, 12, according to the weeks, we should enter that one. So this is the first one. If it is a routine visit, it should be Z34 as the primary. Then the second one is supervision of high risk pregnancy. High risk pregnancy. What is high risk pregnancy? High risk pregnancy means some of the other complications which the patient is developing. The example which they have given here is like the perineal tear which has occurred after the delivery. During the delivery, if it is normal delivery also, sometimes doctors may try with the forceps, sometimes they try with the vacuum and all. Okay. So in that case, normally getting an episiotomy wound is, it's normal. But sometimes when doctors try with the forceps and all, there are chances to get perineal tear. That case, it can go to first degree, second degree, third degree perineal tear. So they will be repairing that perineal tear. The example which they have given here is during the delivery, the patient got a first degree perineal tear. Okay. That is a complication and the supervision of complication. In that case, how you will code? The coding will be like O70.0. That will be a primary diagnosis. It's nothing but first degree perineal laceration during delivery. That means during the delivery, patient has got a first degree perineal laceration. Laceration is nothing but a cut wound. Cut injury is known as a laceration. So the O70.0 is first degree perineal laceration during delivery. Your second code will be like the weeks of gestation, and your third code will be your outcome of delivery, that is nothing but the baby Z37.0. This is nothing but the supervision of high risk pregnancy. Now comes the third point, episodes with no delivery occurs. No delivery occurs in the sense we may be going with some or the other complaints which we have, like for example, if we are getting a false pain, we don't know whether it is a false pain or true pain. We'll be telling that we have an abdominal pain. If we are in the last trimester, if we are getting some contractions, we may go to the ER with the contractions pain. But afterwards, after doing the CTG analysis, and then the doctor may say, okay, that's a false pain. There is no delivery happening soon. Okay, so that is nothing but encounter with no delivery happens. Encounter with no delivery happens. Okay, understood. In this case, how we will code? What is the reason for our visit? With what complaints we have entered the ER? That will be our primary code, which we should categorize according to O series only, from the category O00 to O9A. The next one is like episode when a delivery occurs. First one is with no delivery and the second one is with delivery. Okay, we are going to the ER with the labor pain and we are delivering the baby. That is the scenario. In this case, here they have given one example like patient is already diabetic. That means gestational diabetes is there for the patient and there is footling presentation. Footling presentation means in the previously when I have indicated that fetus identification number, I have told the baby is breech presentation. Breech presentation means butt is presenting, but in this case footling presentation. Footling presentation means the baby's foot instead of head. Normal presentation is vertex. Instead of that, footling presentation is happening. That means leg of the baby is coming first, which will be creating an obstruction in the labor, which is a complication. In that case, doctors will not try for a normal delivery. They'll go for a lower segmental cesarean section only. Okay. In that case, how you will code the scenario? Initially, your code will be like O64.8XX0. You should just, if you have your textbook, just try to open the codes and try to understand the descriptions. It is mentioned as obstructed labor due to the other malpositioning and malpresentations, not applicable or unspecified. Okay. And as I have told, the patient is having gestational diabetes. So your secondary code will be O24.420 and your third code will be Z3A.38 based on the weeks of gestation. If it is 38 weeks, you can give 38. 39 weeks, you can give 39. Okay. And finally, your code will be like the outcome of delivery, that is nothing but baby, single live birth, Z37.0. These many codes. If there is a delivery and there is a live baby, then for sure you should code Z37.0 as your last code. Okay. So the reason for encounter you should mention, then the weeks of gestation, then the single live birth. This should be the sequencing of when delivery occurs guideline. And then the last one is like the outcome of delivery. What is outcome of delivery? Outcome of delivery, when we see that, we will be so happy. That is the baby. Okay. So in this case, the category code will be like O37. As I have told, whenever there is a delivery occurring, either it is a normal or it is a lower cesarean segment, we should go code O37 as your last code, and that should be mentioned on the maternal record and not on the baby's record. Okay, because mother is delivering, so it should be there on the maternal record. Okay. The next guideline is pre-existing versus conditions due to pregnancy. In this case, pre-existing. What is pre-existing? Pre-existing means patient is having condition before the pregnancy itself. If you go back and recollect in diabetes, hypertension, all these chapters we have spoken regarding the pre-existing conditions and conditions developing during pregnancies. Pre-existing means before pregnancy itself the patient was having some other particular condition. If you take an example, it can be DM, hypertension, whatever it is. Okay. If the patient is having before pregnancy, then we will consider, then we will assign the codes as pre-existing diabetes mellitus in pregnancy. Okay. If it is after conceiving, then we will code it as gestational diabetes mellitus. Okay. So this is nothing but pre-existing versus during pregnancy. Pre-existing means already. Pre means before. Already before conceiving itself, the patient was having that particular condition. Understood? Next one is pre-existing hypertension in pregnancy. Pre-existing condition, hypertension also, for this also the same guideline is applicable. We should read the scenario carefully and we should understand whether it is a pre-existing or pregnancy induced. If it is pre-existing, we will code it as pre-existing hypertension complicating pregnancy, and if it is pregnancy induced, then we will code it as pregnancy induced hypertension complicating pregnancy. Okay, nothing but PIH, pregnancy induced hypertension. Okay, this is the guideline. For this, the main thing what you need to do is you should go and read the scenario carefully and understand whether it is a pre-existing condition or this condition has been established once the patient got pregnant. Okay, this is the thing what you need to do. The next one is fetal conditions affecting the management of mother. Fetal conditions affecting the management of mother. What does this sentence means? That means when the mother is pregnant, if she is getting some of the other complications, that time if the fetal growth is affecting the mother's management. For example, baby is there in the womb, at the same time itself the mother is having a uterine fibroid. Okay, so the doctor need to treat the uterine fibroid as well as it should not harm the baby, because it is two lives. The doctor need to save the mother as well as the baby. In that, the well-versed experienced doctors, what they will do? They will do in utero surgery itself. When the baby is there in the womb itself, they will remove the fibroid and they will close the uterus in a proper, not the uterus, they will close the abdomen in a proper manner. Okay. This is nothing but the fetal conditions affecting the management of the mother. I'll give you one example for this one. Here they have given like a patient is seen for sporting 15 weeks into her pregnancy. The doctor also suspected fetal hydrocephalus. Here actually the patient is having spotting and the doctor is suspecting fetal hydrocephalus. But in this case, the fetal hydrocephalus is not going to affect in any way to the mother, because it is hydrocephalus which is affecting the head and the mother is having spotting. It's not going to affect the mother's treatment. So in this case, it is not required to mention any complications of the baby. In this case, the coding scenario will be like spotting complicating pregnancy, second trimester of the primary code, and the secondary will be the weeks of gestation. No need to mention any complications of the baby in this particular coding sequencing. Understood? If it is complicating only, we need to mention that. And if it is not complicating, then no need to mention that one. The next one is in utero surgery. In utero surgery, as I have told, it can happen in two ways, either to save the mother's life or to save the baby's life. Sometimes what happens, doctors will do the corrective surgeries inside the uterus itself for the babies. In that case, your codes will be from O35 category or O36 category based on the management what the doctor has given to the mother or the baby. It can be either a surgical management or a medical management. It can be O35 codes or O36 codes. Understood? The next one is like HIV infection in pregnancy, childbirth and puberty. Okay, the very first chapter when Vidya has taken, she has clearly mentioned regarding the pregnancy and HIV related complications. Those who have not gone through the chapter, I'll just put the link in the description box, just go back and have a look on that chapter. You will identify in detail, and now I'll just give you an example. Okay, so whenever you are coding other conditions along with pregnancy, you should remember the first code should start with O, and based on that condition you should choose the codes, and then the weeks of gestation should be coded as the secondary codes, okay, or the last codes. In this case HIV, so that to indicate that one, first code is that, and then the second code is like HIV confirmed case, and your third code is like your weeks of gestation, okay. And the last one is like DM in pregnancy. DM in pregnancy, in that case, as I have told, pre-existing hypertension in pregnancy. Likewise, same way, you should read and understand the scenario, whether it is pre-existing diabetes mellitus or a gestational diabetes mellitus. If it is a pre-existing diabetes mellitus, your code should start with pre-existing diabetes mellitus. And your next one will be like, if it is a gestational, then you should pick the codes based on gestational diabetes mellitus. Okay, so main thing is how you read the scenario and how you approach it. If you read it in a proper manner and if you are able to understand it in a proper manner, then you can easily pick up the codes. Okay.